Welcome back. All right, so today I want to discuss a few things. Sort of, if you want to borrow a Peter Griffin phrase, they're grinding my gears. I was glad to see the people on the internet who were trying to body shame Triple H got shut down pretty early and very quickly. But trying to body shame a guy who went through a massive coronary event not that long ago, a man who cannot lift weights and do strenuous things like that, or it could kill him. I think it's interesting body shaming somebody in that situation, but that's the society we live in now. And not only that, but I looked at the picture. I'm like, okay, seriously, he's still in good shape. For a man who's pushing 60, he is still in good shape. And for people who want to say he's not, I, I think, and I've talked about this on this channel before, I think our standard now for what looks good is completely unrealistic. And not only that, but very often the people on the internet that are trying to enforce this, these people actually look good, don't necessarily look great themselves. It's kind of weird. I don't know that I understand that. Um, it's like I said with Jennifer Love Hewitt there. Jennifer Love Hewitt, I think, is an average size for a woman her age, and I don't think there's anything shameful about that. None of the people that I went to school with and I'm friends with on Facebook currently look like they did in high school. None of them are in like this primo, fantastic, phenomenal shape. There are a couple that are in good shape. There are others that still do workouts and such, and I'm not the only one that plays floor hockey of the bunch, although I usually play street hockey, but I've played floor hockey as well, obviously. But yeah, the idea that you're going to look great forever, even if you're a professional athlete, is just insane. I always notice that when, in many cases, hockey players retire and become coaches, they no longer look quite like they did as hockey players. They can put on a few pounds, which is fine. It's not the end of the world. It's just so weird to me. So very odd. Yesterday I was watching The Challenge. So the new season of The Challenge, season 41. I got through the first 3 episodes. I didn't even know it was back. The weird thing is, once again, I can only watch it on my... So this is weird. I've got it on cable through Crave. But on the online version of Crave, I can't find it. So I can't watch it through the app, but I can watch it through my cable, which is stupid. But what I can't figure out is, so you've got Derek running around. He's one of the veterans. He's 6 months out of ACL surgery. What the hell's he doing on the show? CT, I love CT. Don't get me wrong. CT, and I loved him on the Traders. Great guy. The shape he's in, he should not be on the show. He's in his mid-40s. He is, he's got big. He's got big. And his cardio is nowhere near what you would, I think, want for people to be on the challenge. And there was another one, too, that I was really surprised was on there, too. And then, of course, Johnny Bananas, it doesn't matter. Johnny Bananas is just excellent no matter what. Anissa. Anissa was really struggling. And I understand that it is a social game as much as it's a physical game. But some of these people just physically can't go. And the weird part is, there are veterans they could have picked who I'm not sure why they didn't. But they're either younger or they're in better shape. And I find it weird, the casting on the challenge. Because I feel bad. I feel bad for them. I feel like if you can't go... then the people who are doing the casting probably know you can't, and probably shouldn't be putting you on the show. I think it leads to more likelihood of an accident. I'm terrified every time Derek does anything, because his knee is completely screwed. So I don't understand why they get... And it's weird, too, because last season, Derek was fantastic. But he got banged up during last season, so he ends up having surgery, and I don't know that it's related. And they put him on the show. So I was frantically messaging my wife, who's currently in the hospital, about this, even though she doesn't watch the challenge, but she knows who CT is. So I just kept messaging her my reactions to things. I'm like, look, I need to react. I need to message somebody. So I've been spoiled for years that my wife and I will lay in bed at night and watch like reality TV shows, and we will make jokes and remarks. We make remarks at the exact same time. We've watched so many of these together that we like every time, every season of Hell's Kitchen or Master Chef or whatever, there will be a tagline that Chef Ramsay's trying to get over. Or if it's next level chef, he'll always be like, "It's a good dish, but is it next level?" And every time he'll say that, Yvonne and I go, "Next level." And like, because it's so weird. It's so bizarre. you know? Or like, what was it on MasterChef? They had season 10. And they kept talking about, well, this is a good dish. But is it season 10 good? And so it got to the point where while they were making it, I would turn to Yvonne and go, that looks like a good dish. Not sure that's season 10 good. And then when they would grade it, and they'd say the exact same thing, Yvonne and I got a real kick out of it. So this is part of the reason why I watch the shows I watch. This is why I love watching Love Island, because we hear these people in their early 20s speaking, and we can barely understand what the hell they're saying, because there's so many phrases that don't mean what they seem to think they do. I get that line from Princess Bride in my head a lot. I don't think that word means what you think it means. And I find myself mumbling that a lot. So now she's in the hospital, and we're still not sure when she's getting back, for anybody who's curious. At this point, she's being transferred. So with the transfer, it could go either way. Either it could speed up her coming home, although the hospital she's being transferred to is a much further drive away than the one she's in now. Like the one she's in now, I can Uber over there in 12 minutes. But the one she's going to, no. But either way, I miss having that banter while I'm watching these shows. And yeah, the challenge is just, it's one of those things I was watching, so they've got a rookie paired with a veteran, but the rookies are obviously really good because A, they haven't been beat up by years on the challenge, and B, most of them are younger than the veterans, obviously. And not all the veterans are in fantastic shape. Like Aviv. What in the hell has Aviv been doing the last year? She's in fantastic shape. I don't know what she's been doing, but at least to me, she appears to be in better shape than last year. What else is grinding my gears a little bit right now? Not really much, to be honest. See, and then there was another one that was bugging me, and I was like, I'm going to fire that up. I'm going to start up a video. And now it's not there. Oh, Love is Blind UK. So, I think with Love is Blind now, that the whole blind part, they could just pull that out of there. There were two young women in there who made it very clear to the guy on the other side that they're hot. One of them said she was blonde. She also mentioned being too tiny for this and too tiny for that. So I'm like, so now he knows she's a tiny blonde. She mentioned something else that she did, and I said, so now he knows she's good looking. I think it was pageants, something like that. And so I said to Yvonne, because this was before she went to the hospital, I said, so now he knows she's blonde, petite, and good looking. How is this Love is Blind anymore? And then there was another one that was talking about her appearance. And I was like, okay, they're not supposed to do that, right? Like, it's not like just put them in a two-way mirror. Just, I don't know. It's it's just so weird. And the whole Love is Blind thing is stupid anyways. But again, it's because the reason we watch it is because we can just have a mindless evening. We don't even remember who's dating who half the time. There are so many crossovers. Like, Perfect Match. I don't know who decided this year, but Perfect Match was a disaster. That you have 20 people all in a villa, meaning there's 10 couples you're trying to keep track of, or at the very least 20 people. I don't care who's talking to who. I don't know what the hell's going on. There's like maybe 3 or 4 cast members that I care about what happens with. And it's Louis. It's Louis from Too Hot to Handle. Really, honestly. That poor schmuck. He seems like such a nice guy, but he really does have a weakness for the young ladies. And so I think any relationship he's in is doomed until he learns to tame the wandering eye. But again, he seems like a perfectly nice guy. He's a little girl crazy. And so watching this, perfect match, and seeing these girls are sending in, I'm thinking, yeah, they know exactly what, like, casting knows what they're doing, and the more that I watch the dark side of the reality shows, the less interest there is in some of those reality shows. It's already ruined a couple of them for me, so see what happens from there. Last night's Raw did not end with the heels standing tall, so that was a nice change. The problem is everything still involved a run-in, except Io Sky fairly pinned Raquel Rodriguez. I did like a happy dance. I was like, "Holy crap! It's a clean pinfall victory on Raw. What happened?" And then, of course, then there's a beat down after, and then Rhea comes out to make the save. Every single match involved somebody running in, someone interfering, some kind of angle after. Like, it's just. It's not what I really liked about wrestling. The wrestling that I really enjoyed in the 80s is long gone, and I get that. I understand. But the way wrestling used to work was you'd have a match, you'd have a winner, you'd move on to the next match. You'd have a winner for that match. And for the next match, you had a winner. You might get a run in maybe once a show, maybe once every other show. But usually, there weren't run-ins. Usually you had... Sometimes it wasn't a fair result. Sometimes the bad guy cheated. Sometimes they held the ropes or they held tights. But you got to win. You got a result. And usually they changed who was wrestling who from one week to another. So you didn't have the same matches recycling. And somewhere along the way, wrestling's forgotten this. And I know it's not only a WWE thing. I know it happens in AEW as well. And it gets kind of tiresome. I think back to, 20 years ago when I was booking the EFED, the Wrestling Online Federation thing. And if I had been doing that with them then, I would have been getting messages from people saying, "I'm fighting that guy again. I don't know what else to do. We've already fought each other 3 times in the last month. What are we doing now? I don't have anything left to say to them." So we would change who was fighting who. You would have an overarching storyline of who was eventually going to fight who. So let's say you have a champion and a challenger. Okay, you have that champion and that challenger. They're going to fight in a month at the next pay-per-view. In the intervening weeks, you're going to have the contender facing other top wrestlers to prove he is the top contender for the title. And the champion is going to have matches as well to try to show I'm the best in the company. And there would be interactions between that contender and that champion, but there wouldn't be like constant run-ins and crap like that. And it would build to the pay-per-view. And then at the pay-per-view match, you'd have actual things happen, and then usually the next pay-per-view would have completely different matches. I like that kind of wrestling. I prefer that kind of wrestling. I think it's funny, too, because it's always been said that pro wrestling is a male soap opera, and right now it is such a soap opera. I used to watch soap operas growing up, and you'd have, like, little groups, and you'd have, okay, this group of 6 characters all interact, and this group of 5 characters interact, and then you got this group over here of another 6. And they'll commingle here and there, but generally all of their storylines are independent of one another, and they don't really cross over much. And that's kind of what wrestling's become. You have this little group and this little group, and these groups are all fighting amongst themselves. And then eventually you might have somebody split off, but eventually they might go back to it. And it gets tiresome in a soap opera, so it can get tiresome with wrestling as well. I like seeing a switch of who's fighting who. And when you know there's a lot of wrestlers that aren't getting on TV, and there are a lot of wrestlers who aren't getting TV in both companies, it's kind of frustrating to see the same matchups all the time, and especially when you know you're not going to get a result. So it's going to go on for 20 minutes. You're not going to get a result. Why not make it 5 minutes? You still don't get a result, but now you got room to put another match on TV and get a couple guys out of catering and give them a chance to be in front of the live crowd and see what they can do. I'm old-fashioned. Very much so. Let me just double-check something here. Okay. I get messages a lot. Sorry, just a message to the wife. Oh, I could pause. Yeah, you're right. But I'm not gonna. No, I don't feel like it. You can pause. I'm kidding. And the t-shirt I'm wearing is my owned by cats, because I'm a cat dad, or, well, I'm a servant of the cats with my wife in the hospital. It leaves things a little bit dicey, because now there's 5 cats. I'm the one that gives them the food. I'm the one that, hands out all the pets. I'm the one that does everything for them. So they all want to be around me just in case treats come out. And then there's the 5 rabbits, and then there's the 2 guinea pigs. And there's only 1 kid in the house out of the 3. So all of the animals are paying attention to me, and I'm doing my best to keep them all happy. It has mixed results at times. So yeah, what else have I had on my mind recently? I did videos on the Canada Post strike back in November and December. I haven't posted any updates, but guess what? Nothing's been resolved. It is now August, and there's talk of a strike again, and neither side has really moved substantially from where they were in December. So, awesome. There's talk about how much money Canada Post is losing, where the union doesn't believe it, yada, yada, yada. So, yeah, nothing's really changed. Nothing in 8 months. And the arguments they're having now are the same ones they've been having for decades. So, no idea where that's going, but I figure they'll go on strike again once Christmas rolls around. Probably just in time for Christmas. They'll go on a nice long strike. So that'll be fun again. That'll be great. That won't make anybody mad at all. But anywho, trying to keep myself busy. It's weird how quiet the house is. It's very bizarre. It's not something that's easy to get used to, and I don't want to get used to it. If I could snap my fingers and make the last week not have happened, I'd absolutely do it. We were supposed to be in Paris right now. I'm supposed to be taking videos with Tour Eiffel in the background, this Eiffel Tower. And I'd even have been able to show that my French isn't awful. I always make jokes with my French, but my French isn't really awful. It's not great. It's far too rusty for what it was when I was in middle school. It's a shame, but it's not awful. And I would have had a chance to have brief conversations in French with people. It's too bad. Quel dommage. So, the biggest problem is I don't have the French accent. I know how bad it would sound in French. But, At any rate, guess I'll close this up there. I am trying to think if there's anything else that I just feel the need to express a frustration with. The body shaming thing is stupid, so stop it. I find it so bizarre how people are just so critical of another person's physical form, like it upsets them, like it offends them. It's so odd, but it is what it is. And yeah, so at any rate, I hope everybody's having a good week. My week is it's another day. It's going to be a while before the other parent is available in this home, but I will do my best, and hopefully everything stays all together, and there's no disasters of any sort. But at any rate, thank you guys so much for watching. And what's been grinding your gears recently? What's been bugging you a little bit? What's been a bee in your bonnet? One other realization I had today, and I know this isn't the hockey channel, but I'll state it here, and I did say it in a members video earlier today, is that I'm understanding that with what my wife's going through, that street hockey meetups are done for the year. Looking at the earliest she'd be able to drive, looking at the earliest she'd be able to actually walk around and be on her feet like that, we're talking months. So I don't see there being any meetups, and I wouldn't have them without her, because she's a big part of it, and it wouldn't feel right to have one without her. So at any rate, thank you guys so much for all your support. It's greatly appreciated, especially during this time where, yeah, it's kind of quiet in my home. So I like to do videos and talk to all you fine people on the internet. It's kind of how things were back in 2016, where I would make videos and talk to the internet because I had kind of a quiet house. It was me and my kid, and he was very often out, not usually home, so it was me and my cats at that point. I didn't have rabbits until I met Yvonne, but yeah, so. And I figured I'd wear the Tampa Bay hat, because why not? I don't think I've ever worn the Buccaneers hat in a video. I got this from the Montreal Canadiens team store for like $5. They were selling them off dirt cheap, and I was like, I'll get a Buccaneers hat for $5. Sure. So there you go. But thank you guys for all your support. It's greatly appreciated. And the well wishes that I've been seeing on both channels have been much appreciated as well. She is doing her best. She is getting better. And the transfer she's going to be doing now is going to make sure that she gets better that much faster. And hearing that she'll be seeing a specialist who is amongst the best in Canada makes me feel a lot better about things. So, fingers crossed. Thank you guys for all your well wishes. I will talk to you again soon.